This is Talk. Thank you so much for your company. We're coming up to 11:52. Let's talk right now to Amy Gallagher. She's a former NHS nurse. She worked at the Tavistock Clinic, where, of course, that was the major trans clinic for children. And she's also now a commentator at the New Culture Forum. Very good morning to you, Amy.
Hi, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. Well, tell us about this brand new study, because this is amazing, almost like a world's first, the world's largest study of its kind, looking at children, thousands of children who've been referred to NHS gender clinics for their belief that they believe that they are born in the wrong body and are trans, and actually looking at their long-term outcomes. First of all, why has this not happened before?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's in keeping with Cass's recommendations that there needs to be more research into how best to treat children who are presenting with gender dysphoria. And it does seem to be, from what I've read, more in keeping with the watchful waiting method, which is that you don't immediately affirm that a child is transgender. You look at them holistically, you look at their family life, their history of trauma, you look at whether they're autistic or not,
Yeah.
or, you look at them as a whole, as opposed to just affirming them and saying, yes, you are trans.
Yeah, I think I might be. I've seen something on YouTube. I think I might be trans. I think I'm born in the wrong body. Oh, OK, yes, we're going to change your pronouns and you can dress how you want and we're going to play along with it, and then we'll take you to a clinic and give you some puberty blockers and set you on that train, and then we'll cut off your breasts or cut off your bits. And that's basically what was happening for 10 or 12 years, wasn't it? And the parents were often told, railroaded into it by being told, well, better a trans child than a dead child because they're more likely to commit suicide if you don't affirm. And that horrible emotional blackmail meant that a lot of parents kind of went along with this and supported it because they just wanted to keep their child alive. But actually, the Cass report basically debunked all of that. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, it does. It does seem as though it's definitely a move away from that, which is positive. I mean, my concern is still this idea that we have these designated gender clinics, that we've got one in Bristol, one in Liverpool, one in London, and there's 5 more that are going to be set up. To me, if a child is presenting with distress, anxiety, depression because of their body, they don't need a specialist gender service. We know how to treat.
Well, also, who by definition will look at trans as the number one thing.
Exactly. It's coercing the family and the child to think that gender, this idea of gender, is the most important thing because you're at a gender clinic.
Yeah.
As opposed to, let's look at why you're anxious, why you feel uncomfortable in your body, why you feel depressed. And we do have lots of evidence on how to treat depression and anxiety and distress in children. And we know that a very large proportion of children who say that they are gender dysphoric will grow out of it.
Yeah.
That's why I worry about labelling it still as a gender issue.
Yes, as opposed to a mental health issue, which is how we used to do with it. But this is the key thing. The vast majority of particularly girls who claim that they believe that they are trans actually just simply turn out to be gay. Maybe they grow up in a family where they feel that's something they can't be open about, can't be honest about. And also a huge percentage of boys and girls who seek out claiming that they were trans are actually on the autistic spectrum. A huge number have been abused. They've had some sort of major trauma in their lives. There's so many explanations for why they're unhappy, but also the evidence is very clear where they have bothered to look for the evidence that actually a lot of these children, once they're on the puberty blockers, once they've gone through surgery or carried down that route, are no happier because it turns out that's not the solution to their problems. It's a different thing. And I think it was really interesting that Cass report, I mean, again, she didn't really say anything that wasn't already known by anyone who paid attention, and people like you who've been working in this and, were whistleblowers on this issue, was that, they all these claims about puberty blockers and affirming young people who say, even a 3-year-old who says that they think they're a boy when they're a girl, why on earth would they even know what that was? There was no follow-up. They didn't follow up even like 2 months later, let alone 2 years or 20 years later. So they had no idea how well or badly this had gone.
Yeah, there's no follow-up research. We have very little evidence, which is why Cass recommended that we do that. But now, I'm very nervous about what this research will look like and what it will be like. And
really?
We do know that the government are rolling out autism assessments for all children that present with gender dysphoria. So I think that's very positive. And this study will look at how, children that are autistic develop differently to children that are not. So I do think there are some positives in this. My concern also is that there's going to be a slight overlap with this study study with the clinical trials for puberty blockers. So some of these children in this study may well be put on the trial for puberty blockers. And that's my big concern, because personally, I don't think there should be a clinical trial for puberty blockers.
No. We've had a clinical trial. We gave them to loads and loads and loads of children for years on end, and it's been done internationally, and it's been a disaster.
Exactly, it's been shown to cause many harms, and it's been shown that it doesn't really help with the distress anyway. And I just as a common sense, I don't think we should be blocking the puberty of healthy bodies. I mean, you don't really need to be a doctor to kind of work that out.
And it's very similar to me. It's, we're talking about a mental health issue, gender dysphoria, believing you're born in the wrong body. It doesn't mean you were born in the wrong body. An anorexic who believes that he or she is massively overweight and needs to lose weight, we don't go, yeah, well, let's help you go on a diet to lose more weight. We don't affirm that. Why on earth are we affirming, the gender dysphoria?
Exactly, it's totally wrong-headed. If somebody is feeling in their mind that there's something wrong with their body, if you then block their puberty, you're essentially agreeing with them. You're saying, yes, okay, let's change the body.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't really need a trial into puberty.
No. Oh, it's totally immoral, and also it's going to be used by the people who are the fanatics on this issue, to actually just always put everyone on the trial. I think it's good news that we're actually at least going to have a long-term study. All of this, again, you'd have thought an awful lot of this would have changed sooner. Anyone who looks at the facts couldn't possibly support the drugging and mutilation of our children, and yet so many people still think they're the good, nice people who are doing that. You've been a fantastic voice on this, Amy Gallagher. Thank you so much for joining us. Philip Ingram. This is one of those stories that always just gets me in the stomach. This is just moving too slowly, this.
Oh, far too slowly. I can write the conclusion of the report today, and the conclusion of the report will turn around and say that giving children puberty blockers, mutilating their bodies, carrying out child abuse against vulnerable children who have got mental health issues or
are simply gay,
or other conditions, or simply gay because they have difficulty.
This is the worst
fitting into society.
Trans treatment is the worst homophobia you can possibly imagine.
Will have caused them long-term harm, and that's the conclusion. That's what it's going to come out with.
Yeah, I know.
We know that today.
Exactly.